This is a very cursed video. Everything keeps failing on me. I'm sweating and I'm just having a time and a half, as we would say. Hi, my name is Alyssa and I like to talk about movies, and today, do I got a little treat for you. Today we are talking about the last great movie flop of the century. I'm talking about Cats. Where was I when Cats came out? I was a fresh 20-year-old in college trying to avoid the news that there was a thing spreading around the earth and that we should be concerned. And I was like, but what if I got Korean barbecue instead? So why am I talking about Cats? It's been a while, right? Well, I mentioned Cats in my last video in my review, my recap of Wicked. Go check it out if you have not seen it. And how that movie affected Wicked's release date multiple times, at least twice. But I had never seen Cats. And I've never been in the right mood for it, really. That's what it came down to. I was never ready for what Cats had to bring. Does anybody else have that feeling? Do they really listen to a mood when they're picking a movie? Because I want to watch Hot Frosty, but I don't know if right now is the right time. Give me a week. Maybe I'll be more in the mood. Maybe I'll be like, you know what? Yes. And that was me with Cats. I just was like, you know what? Tonight is the night. It is not available to rent anywhere. So I had to purchase this for $3.99. And you know what, girls? If you purchase a movie, you must watch. Those are the laws, those are the rules. I do not make it up. I'm pretty sure it is in the Constitution. Women may not have rights, but we have the right to watch Cats. And after what I believe is 2 hours and an intermission, I watched the movie all in one-ish sitting. And I have to talk to you folks about my experience. So I'm bringing you along with me because I know you haven't seen it. Look, guys, Cats only made $75.5 million at the box office worldwide against a $100 million budget. Girls, for context, Joker Folie à Deux broke even at the box office, globally at least. It's a $200 million movie and it made $202 million at the box office. So yeah, Cats was a flop. Such a big flop that it changed cinema forever. But I kind of think that the stain it left on cinema history is very unfair and unjust, but it also is fair and just. If you looked up the definition of whammy in a dictionary, it is gonna say Cats 2019, directed and co-written by Tom Hooper. But I think it's time that we look back at this cultural touchstone and see what went wrong and what could have been better. And before we get into it, if you could leave a like, comment, subscribe, that would be really great. It helps me out major. And if you are already subscribed, well then, you're my Jellicle choice. But what does being the Jellicle choice even mean? Well, let's get into it. As I mentioned earlier, this was co-written and directed by Tom Hooper. You know, the guy who did The King's Speech and the completely non-controversial The Danish Girl. Cats was a passion project led by a massive theater nerd who just was deeply obsessed with a stage show made by our one true love, Andrew Lloyd Webber. Pause up, girls. Pause up. Girls, how can I tell you? I love Phantom of the Opera. If you look back at my Spotify rap for 2017, 2018, embarrassingly, it was a lot of Phantom of the Opera. I was not the coolest girl in town, but at least I had taste. Also, if you work on Broadway, somehow please, for the life of me, get Phantom of the Opera back on stage. I need to see it. And if you do revive it, you will be the one that I love forever. Cats was a musical adapted from T.S. Eliot's Old Possum's book of Practical Cats, which, wild title, love a man who can think of something like that. But the play came out about 10 years after he died, and I really do think he would have enjoyed what Andrew Lloyd Webber saw and envisioned when he read his poetry. Again, pause up. And apparently we all saw the vision too, because it was the 5th longest running musical on Broadway, right behind Wicked, which is the 4th longest running Broadway musical. And Hooper just wanted to see those Jellicle cats on the silver screen. The problem is, when you're adapting a plotless musical featuring an entire ensemble of people dressed up as pseudo-erotic humanoid cats, and then you turn it into a family-friendly Christmas musical, it just doesn't, always work out. But Mr. Hooper really believed that we were in a spot in filmmaking where modern technology could really sell the idea of people being cats. And I don't know if it worked. According to Hooper, Cats takes place in 1930s London, and it follows Victoria, a white cat dumped in the streets by seemingly the only 2 humans that exist in this world, and the several cats that she meets along the way to become a Jellicle cat. I keep saying the word Jellicle, and I feel like I need to really just, we'll get to what it means, okay? Trust me, I'm going to clue you in. And it would be really, really easy to say that this movie doesn't work, mostly because everything looks incredibly fake. Like, I hate to talk about Wicked again, but like, hello, this is where my brain is. That movie, while fantastical, works in the same way that like most fantastic movies do, is that like they build out these giant sets that are just massive and humongous and take a village of people to create. So you don't have to create a fake, impractical world. Like, you can actually like touch things. And that's what grounds things in a reality that our brains can perceive. In Cats, I feel like I'm in a dream. I'm in a dreamscape, you know? Like, I am in a layer of purgatory. Like, this looks insane. Like, look at this image and tell me that it's AI, because it looks exactly like AI, but there's too much texture and it looks real and it freaks me out. But I really want to compliment Sandwich this thing to give it some like positivity, so we're not just like negative Nancy's all the time. So we're gonna do positive, then constructive criticism, and then we'll just finish it off with a positive, you know? So at the top of my little sandwich, my little cookie compliment sandwich, we have to applaud Hooper for even getting this idea off the ground. Do you know how hard it is to get a blank check from a studio to make whatever you want? I mean, because sometimes it works out. Like, you get Tom Cruise asking Brian De Palma to direct a reboot movie of a TV show from the 60s, and then you get Mission Impossible. And Hooper was given a blank check and he said, you know what I really want to do after winning an Oscar and now being friends with Taylor Swift? I want to make Cats. And to be fair, he had a track record. Like, he, again, Les Mis, we might not love it, but that movie was a winner. And like, he had a team of people who believed in him. Again, Taylor Swift. And she has said yes because she had originally auditioned for Eponine in the Les Mis adaptation, but you will recall that role famously went to Samantha Barks, who played the role at the West End production. Very Miss Cynthia Erivo of her, if you ask me.
There's no place like Target.
But Hooper was like, well, she's a mega pop star. Eventually, I'll have the right role for her. And then he did. And she was the first cast into this movie. And she did say yes. And she does talk about it. She immortalized it on Evermore. Oh, she captured, caught me in a bad light. Guys, I swear to God, I know that last concert's coming up like this weekend, but also like, guys, what if we do get a double album re-release? And the rest of the cast for this movie is amazing. You have Jennifer Hudson playing Grisabella, a once glamorous cat now on the rocks for an unknown reason. You also have Idris Elba as Macavity, a wanted criminal wizard cat that is eliminating all the other jellicle competition he has. You have Jason Derulo as Rum Tug Tugger. Jason Derulo is Rum Tug Tugger, and he's kind of this like playboy cat, I guess. And then you also have Miss Dame Judi Dench playing Old Deuteronomy, aka the Grim Reaper, the Angel of Death. Also, James Corden and Rebel Wilson are here, and I do not want to talk about it right now. We will get to it, but not now. So yeah, like, super uber ultra famous people are so confident and so willing to be in Hooper's passion project and make another hit and get a fat payday from it, and I do not blame them. But that is the movie business. Like, sure, art, but money. And that is how you stay on top. But I think that belief could only go so far, especially when the final product is deeply uncanny and not very on top. And it isn't like the visual effects team wasn't trying. They were allegedly working 90-hour work weeks, and guys, that's 2 full-time jobs and a hobby. And the worst part was that they only had 4 months to get everything done. To give you some context, the 2-minute trailer took them 6 months to do. Then they only had 4 months to do the entire movie. Allegedly. Also, if you guys do not know about the butthole cut, yes, there was an alleged butthole cut, and it's because the way that the digital fur was laying down, when it like met their booties, it was looking like a booty hole. And so they had to hire one guy to redo all the fur on all of the cats in the entire 2-hour-long movie, so it made it look like they didn't have a butthole. But there is a cut of the movie out there that looks like they have booty holes, and I want it. And I know that Hooper was like deeply inspired by James Cameron and Avatar. I'm constantly deeply inspired by James Cameron, hello. But at least with an Avatar, you get scale and a story that the audiences can relate to. And I'm so sorry, but I cannot relate to cats who want to off themselves. Also, these cats don't even look like cats. Like, look at this. Why is everything so smooth and like also so exposed? And please, can you explain to me why this happens? Like, what am I supposed to get from this? I don't understand. And I could feel myself losing myself in negativity and critiques. And like, I don't know how to make things better, so I need to stop. I need to say something positive. So, okay. I really liked the ears in this movie and how they moved. Like, especially in the last song, which my nemesis. Judi Dench is like looking at you and she's like, my ears are doing a thing while I talk. And I loved it. It gave the characters personality, and I'm okay with it. And I don't want to say that Cats is nightmare fuel, not clickbait, energy. I feel like that's a very tired sentiment that's been passed around for like the last 5 years. And I think there is some good in this movie, e.g. the ears and honestly the tap dancing sequence. Loved it. But like I gotta love the risk. But like you gotta appreciate the risk. And I think a really big risk was taken here. I really appreciate it. It was a big old stumble and a fall. I'm not gonna redeem this movie. It's just like there's a lot of movie with a lot of aspiration behind it. And I love that. And I live for movies like that. The final product, in the words of a cat's worst enemy, roof. And you're gonna see that this movie is quite plain. Like there is a plot. Don't get me wrong. It does follow the rules of cinema. It's just like kind of dumb. But yes, the best way to explain it is to walk you through the plot. So let's take a stroll. So we are introduced to the cats through a dumping situation. A rich lady tosses this bag into a street and the cats in the neighborhood are just like, ooh, what is this? What is this? Immediately they're clawing at this giant bag and they're like, what the heck is going on here, right now? One of the cats opens up the bag and Victoria the white cat pops out and she's like, where am I? But you know what? Her face card never declines. She is getting those miles. The cats are like, who are you? You're not a Jellicle cat. And she's like, okay, what is that? Immediately, the cats break out into song and dance, explaining exactly what it is to be a Jellicle cat. I told you I was gonna tell you what it means to be Jellicle, so let's look at the lyrics of the first song and kind of see if we can glean something from it, No notes, I think we got it. For those of you who do not get what I've already got, a Jellicle cat is really just a cat that is an absolute feline. Like, it is truly a cat's cat. But Victoria is like, oh.
How y'all doing?
I don't really know if I'm a Jellicle cat. I was just kind of abandoned. So like, I don't know. Then this really sassy cat named Cassandra, played by Meat Tolley, is always just like giving face. She's always around to just be like, and she stops Victoria and she's like, okay, so what's your name? And she's like, my name's Victoria. And she goes, no, your other name. So apparently there's a concept of 3 names. You have your human name or the familiar one, which is the one you are given. And they all apparently have very human names. I think one is named like Steve and no one's named like Cinnamon or Nutmeg. And then you have what I believe is your Jellicle name, which is like your particular one. For example, Rum Tug Tugger is a particular name. And then you have your secret name. But we never come back to what it means, so purge it from your mind because like it does not matter. Also, we have to go meet our first cat pining to go to the Heaviside Lair and be granted a new life. Jenny Anydots, played by Rebel Wilson, is a house cat who wants to become a Jellicle cat simply because she is tired of sitting around, having nothing to do all day in the kitchen, except for teach the mice children how to scat and the roach ladies how to dance like she's Bob Fosse. This scene, we are less than 15 minutes into the movie and I'm already seeing too much. These eyes, too much. Also, at one point, Jenny Anydots unzips her body to reveal a sparkling outfit underneath. Hooper, what are the rules? How is this? Like, watch this song by itself and go, this was not made for children. This was not made for anybody. But like the scale of things also doesn't make a lick of sense to me. Like they have to tuck down to run underneath the table, but the mice are also like that small. Also the knob thing on the curtain that she's like playing with at some point is just so big. And then she puts her hand on an entire loaf of bread and it's like so small. Like, where am I? Call the police. I'm actually scared. But I'm also a simple creature and I do love a physical comedy moment too. There's just like, it's not funny. Like nothing's landing. It sends like a shiver down my spine and it's just a fear. It's just like the same shiver of fear that you get when you're paranoid. But Jenny Anydots' case for wanting to become the Jellicle cat or the Jellicle choice makes a lot of sense to me. I get it. I'm rooting for her. And then we meet Jason Derulo's sexy cat I mentioned earlier. He's a playboy. He enjoys drinking a little bit of milk at the milk bar and seducing young female cats. Ugh, hate the way that sounded. He also gets to wear a coat and I'm just like, thank you. I don't want to see all of Jason Derulo like this. I really appreciate it. Also, I must mention, all of like the little restaurants and everything in this square that they're all dancing around, they are all named as if they cater to cats. So like there's the milk bar, there's the Egyptian theater, there's also I forgot what the other one was. I wrote it down. But it's just like, it's bizarro. Everything is like written and catering to cats. There's no humans in this world. And like, you feel like there's no humans in this world. It's very bizarre. It's very, guess what? Uncanny. Take a shot every time I say uncanny. And honestly, like Derulo's performance in this, I love it. I just couldn't understand anything for like the first half of the song. So I was just like, checked out. During his song, Ginny Anydots gets kidnapped via teleportation by McCavity. He's a wizard cat who's also wearing a coat. I need to know who is making the fashion choices in this movie. I need to talk to them. After his song, Rum Tug Tugger, which I feel like again is a slur that is coming out of my mouth, but he's also kidnapped by McCavity in front of like everybody, but no one says anything and just keeps going. We got more people to meet. The next cat we meet, before we get into like an actual big song, we meet Grisabella, the glamour cat, except she's not so glamorous anymore. Something's happened. Something about her is shun-worthy. And the cats, especially Cassandra, not into it. They're like, get out of here, you old hag. And Victoria's like, who's that? And they're like, old, who cares? After we briefly meet Grisabella, the next cat we meet is Bustopher Jones, who is described as a bourgeoisie cat.
For the bourgeoisie.
I would send this cat to my own personal Heaviside lair. Like, where do I start? Well, for one, he strips off his outfit in a very similar way to Ginny Anydots. And he has like a little fur tuxedo, which sure, cute, what, I don't know. But like the whole time he's just eating CGI garbage and it looks crazy. Again, the scale isn't scaling and it's pissing me off. Also, at some point he like flies to the air and lands on a trash can in a very gaggy way. Like not in like a, oh my god, girl, slay. Like a very stupid way that is like, oh my god, isn't it funny that he just like landed on his hoo-ha? And I'm like, no. Also, the wire work in this movie is just like so bad. Like it looks bad. Like where's the budget? Well, Bustopher Jones wants to be the Jellicle choice because he's very upset about his weight. And that's just really loaded. And I'm not gonna be the one who pulls the trigger. So we're gonna move on to the next cat, yeah? Also, thank God, McCavity is here and he lures Bustopher Jones into a trash chute that sends him to a boat dock in London where Ginny Anydots is also at. Like what is happening, McCavity? What are you up to? Okay, sorry. I had some dog things to take care of, so I am back to talk about cats. But Victoria has some like soul searching to do now, and I guess the best way to do that is by committing crimes. So she meets up with some cat burglars, and I don't know why they're trying to be the Jellicle choice as well, because again, they're living their best life. But they're having fun being cats, being little shitheads. I love it for them. And they end up breaking a vase, which alerts a dog in the house, and I'm like, oh, chaos energy. They all try to leave, but then Victoria gets caught with a wristwatch that she's wearing around her neck, and she can't escape. And the twin cats are like, oh, bye, and just dip to leave her for dead. Luckily, Mr. Mistopheles, who has been around, but we don't really want to talk about him too much because he hasn't been contributing to the story, he really just shows up and he's like, hey, so I love you. I'll save your life for a kiss. And he helps Victoria by pulling a bone out of his cat-sized hat and throwing it to the dog who's like trying to break in, but I don't see a shadow. I don't see a struggle. I don't think there's a real dog there. Anyways, these two cats are now flirting and almost in love, and they almost kiss just when old Deuteronomy is strolling into town, which means the Jellicle Ball is about to start. I have to say, Judi Dench in this full fur coat is really giving me life. It's giving me so much life that I might put my name in the hat to go to the Heaviside lair. But we're at the Jellicle Ball, and it takes place in the Egyptian theater. It's very good. It's very bad. I love it. It is camp, unironically camp, like true camp. Unlike this movie. This movie is not camp. I have this name in my script and I cannot read it. Skimbly Shanks? Skimbly Shanks. Yeah, Skimbly Shanks. That's what we're gonna say it is. Okay, great. It's Skimbly Shanks' turn to like put his bid in for being, you know, the Jellicle choice. And I have to tell you, he is a train supervisor. Actually, I think he just works at the tracks. I think he just like watches the trains. I don't know if he really has a job, but he's wearing the highest pants I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's okay because he's tap dancing his way into my heart. I love him. I don't care how bad this entire movie looks. I will watch it again and again for this tap dancing sequence. I love it. This is also a really great time to mention to you that most of the songs in this movie are really bad. Like none of them are really catchy in the first half of this movie. And so I'm just like in this point where every time a cat opens their mouth, I'm like, please don't. Please stop singing. The next cat to audition to be chose for Assisted Dying is Gus, an aged theater cat played by Sir Ian McKellen, and boy is he hamming it up. Also, his song is so sad because like he's reminiscing about his glory days and how he's aged and he's like ready for a new life, and I'm so sorry, but that is my Jellicle choice. Like he is going to the Heaviside lair. Sorry, everybody else. And Miss Dame Judi Dench is like, it might be your time, Gus, and he is ecstatic to get this like hint that it might be him. I also want to mention that after each song, the cats do not clap because, pause. So they all meow instead. And I think that is insanity. Yes. But then Macavity keeps showing up and he kidnaps Gus and Mr. Train Cat through teleportation, and they all go to the boats by the dock, and it is looking grim for them. Victoria, who's just kind of been like around, is about to have her moment, and so she does this beautiful ballet solo in the moonlight, and it's just so good. It is so good. I'm really a big fan of dancing in movies like this, especially by Francesca Howard. This is her first role. Good for her. I wish that this movie had either chosen to be fully dance, like more dance focused, because that would be very killer. But Victoria's dance is interrupted when Cassandra is like, oh, that hag Grisabella is back, and I have to go look at her and shun her. And honestly, Victoria has had enough of this anti-feminist rhetoric, and she's like, you know what? No, I relate to you, Grisabella, because I too was abandoned not mere 2 hours ago. But then Victoria starts singing an original song by Taylor Swift and Andrew Lloyd Webber, and I just like, even when the song came out, which is Beautiful Ghost, if you do not know, I have to say, never liked this song. And I think the way they performed it is terrible because for the most part, Victoria's just standing there looking at a wall and she's just like, beautiful ghost. It slows down the pacing of this movie. Victoria isn't even dancing. She's just standing and singing. And I'm like, girl, you are a trained dancer. Dance. And then Grisabella slinks away. She's like, okay, bye. And old Deuteronomy is like, you know what, Victoria? Yes. So, who's next on the roll call sheet? Why, it's Bomb Ballerina. If you do not know, this is Miss Swift and not her first role. And she is doing this huge number, and don't piss me off. Why is she wearing heels? Why are some cats wearing shoes and some cats aren't? I don't like it. It makes me very upset. Also, how did they make the shoes? But she sings the catchiest song of this entire movie, which is Macavity. She goes, Macavity, Macavity. And I love it. And then she also catnips the entire place, which means like she drugs them all, and they're all zooted out of their minds. Like they're just out of the race. They're just like, we are so zooted, we must stop. At the end of her song, Macavity shows up and he's like, hey Deuteronomy, you have to choose me because there's no other cats left to choose as a Jellicle choice. So choose me, pick me, love me. And Miss Dame Judi Dench is like, I don't have to do anything. So he kidnaps her, and like Bomb Ballerina is just out of the movie for the rest of this time. Like she is gone, say goodbye. On the dog, Deuteronomy is like, Macavity, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, if I can't be chosen, no one will be. And she's like, oh, okay, harump, get a grip. Not to be rude, but like he is an okay candidate for the Jellicle choice, but Gus is still better, Like Gus is ready. He's getting up there in age, and she could tell Macavity, be like, give it another year. Like maybe do some community service. Be a part of the community a bit more. Don't kidnap other cats. A thought. Back at the ball, the girls are spiraling because without Miss Dame Judi Dench, how are they gonna choose the Jellicle cat? Mr. Mistopheles to the rescue is like, I'll try my magic to bring her back. And we also get another banger of a song. This is a very cursed video. Everything keeps failing on me. I'm sweating and I'm just having a time and a half, as we would say. But anyways, after this very catchy song, Mr. Mistopheles does bring Deuteronomy back, and we are so happy. He defied all logic in science and did the damn thing. And I'm proud of him. Good for him. Back on the dock, because we still have 4 cats who've been kidnapped. The others are just like, so what do we do now? Should we escape? Together, the 4 kidnapped cats beat up all the henchmen into the water. So Ginny Anydots has a chain as her weapon of choice. Bustopher Jones has hairballs. The train cat tap dances, and then Mr. Ian McKellar just hisses. All right, follow me back to the ball one last time. This is the last time we're doing a location change, which is not great for a movie that still has like 40 minutes. Victoria brings Grisabella inside to sing and die for Judi Dench, and this is how we get Memories. Great song, great performance, no notes. During the song, all the other cats are like, whoa, we didn't realize you were that depressed. Damn, that's really on us. Deuteronomy isn't like, you know what, Grisabella? You are the Jellicle choice. Congratulations. And they're ushering her into this hot air balloon made from a broken chandelier. Also, during this entire moment, that does belong to Jennifer Hudson. Victoria is just like dancing in the background. And I'm like, girl, is now the best time? As Grisabella is floating away to the heaviside layer, Macavity tries to like hitch a ride, but then he like slips off of the hot air balloon and lands on top of this massive building. And to make things worse, he can't teleport anymore. His magic is just gone. Why? No clue. But now he's just stuck up there for the rest of his life. Guys, somebody go get that cat. The rest of the Jellicle gang is like, goodbye, Grisabella. It was great accepting you for like 2 seconds and then sending you off to die. It's been real. And then we get this abomination of a fourth wall break the entire time, where Judi Dench is just like, this is how you know a cat and how you should greet a cat. And I think it's a bit of a chaotic way to end a movie about sending a cat to its death, you know? But this is where you get like the best ear action in the movie, like the into it. Love it. But the way we end this movie is insanity. We end with Victoria getting accepted into the Jellicle gang, and she's like, can't wait to participate next year. So pumped. The cats. I have a lot to say about this movie. What did we learn? Well, I think we learned that Gus should have been the Jellicle choice. Because he was like, content with his life, sure, but like he was at the end of it and a bit deflated. And I don't know if he's gonna make it to next year, you guys. Like, really don't think it's gonna work out for him. And so I think making him the Jellicle choice so he could get a new life and be reincarnated into like whatever it is he wants to be was the way to send him out. Is really, I feel like, goes against what it means to be a Jellicle cat. But what does choosing Grisabella really mean for the overall story? I think her story is one about social dismissal and the journey to acceptance. But it would have been better if Deuteronomy like became her mentor and was like, you are gonna be the matriarch and maybe I'm the Jellicle choice. I don't know. There's ways we could have gone about it. I don't care enough to like really pull this apart anymore, especially when I'm like having so many technology issues. I'm just like, maybe this isn't it. But I think there were a lot of mistakes made. This movie is simply insanity just because there's just so much going on and not a lot going on. The Cats is a contradiction and I love it. And good for Hooper. I wonder what he's doing these days. I don't know, there's a aimless plot narrative going on and nothing's happening with these characters. And I really don't understand why we're with Victoria, besides the fact that like she is new to this world, just like the audience is, and we're just like, whoa, what's happening? And no one's making a sense of anything. And I'm like, great, cool, love it. I would love to see this movie be like retried in 20 years, you know, by like Greta Gerwig, or just like a woman who like understands the female stories about aging and friendship and everything that's going on within Cats, because I think that's really what's at the heart of it all. But overall, you know, Cats is gonna get a D+ from me. It is not the worst thing I've seen. There are some redeeming qualities to it, you know? I wouldn't recommend you go out and like watch it, especially because it's not streaming for free right now. Like, just don't do that to yourself. But I also just like, you know, it's an experience. It is a cultural touchstone. Yeah, I don't know what the worst movie I've ever seen was. I feel like this isn't it though. I feel like I've seen worse. But let me know what you thought about this movie. Like, comment, subscribe, you know, the Holy Trinity. And you know, if you want more of me talking to you, then this is the way to go at it. But until next time, bye. Pause up.